SK Vibemaker.
You know we bring through the best special guests. We are not changing tradition anytime soon. Now today, we've got a very familiar face in the building who's been missing for the game for a little while. She exploded onto your screens in 2013. She's got a powerful voice, wicked songwriting. Tamera's here. What's happening?
Oh, that was a lovely intro.
I try.
Thank you so much.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be outside.
Seeing
you face to face.
I think everyone's happy to be outside at the moment, man. If you're not happy to be outside, I've got a really question, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? A lot about you. But then saying that, on your Instagram, it says that you are a social introvert.
That's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? So kind of break that down before we get into the nitty gritty.
Well, okay, well, I call myself a social introvert because I love people. I love meeting people. I love picking people's brains and, you know, just like getting to know the depths of, you know, how other people deal with things and look at things and whatever. I think it's very fascinating to me. But I love my own solitude. I feel like I'm at my most, you know, I'm most at peace when I'm on my own.
Straight up.
And I find time to reground myself, and you know, I feel like I have to do that a lot because I'm like, sis, you have a path, you have somewhere you're going, and I always have to kind of stop and check in with myself and make sure that I'm still making moves in the right direction. And yeah, sometimes I get anxiety as well about being in like spaces with a load of people. So yeah, it's very, it could be very left or right. Social introvert.
I mean, sometimes people can find that difficult to understand when you're a performing artist, a musician, like being an introvert. So how do you kind of navigate through being like, you know, being on stages, being a performer and being a social introvert?
Well, I feel like I'm lucky because there's two sides, you know, being an artist, there's two sides of the industry. Like you have the time where you can really be very vulnerable and lock yourself away and be in the studio and kind of let it all out. And there's like, it's like a no judgment zone. And then, you know, there's the other side of the industry where you're out and you're promoting and you're like, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing. And
the brand.
The brand, yeah, exactly. But I feel sometimes I feel like it's a little hard because I am shy sometimes. But like I said, it's nice to connect with people, but the performing side of it, that's when I get to be an extrovert.
Alter ego?
No, I wouldn't say alter ego. I wouldn't say alter ego because I'm definitely still myself. But you know, in my songs, I try to express myself in a very raw and honest way. And that is, you know, that's my best expression of myself that I can put out there. And then when I'm on the stage and I'm able to share that part of myself with other people and they're receiving it well and they're giving me energy back, like it just brings me alive, you know, it brings me to life. I feel like very accepted and very comfortable. And yeah, that's kind of like how I navigate it. I pull things from different parts of the job, you know? Straight.
Now, I'm going to let you break down this as much as you want to break down. In 2013, at a very young age, you exploded into the game on TV screens. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure you had that time before that. You've had a bit of a MIA sort of situation after that. Like 8 years, fast forward to where we are now.
Yeah. Kind
of break down your music history, you know, so far from 2013, before and after.
Well, okay. Well, I'll start from before. Because it was young. I was 16 at the time. And I just come out of school. I didn't really know, like I always knew that I wanted to be a creative. I knew that I loved to sing. But there wasn't much like opportunity for me to do that from where I came from. I come from Kent, a small town in Gravesend, so there wasn't much opportunity for me to do that or anything. And then I had an opportunity to go on like a huge talent show, and this was like I just left school, so I'm in the holiday before I go to college. And I'd put in like my CV for a couple of shops or whatever, you know, like summer jobs to get a little bit of change, and I didn't get accepted for any job. So when I had this opportunity, I was like, yeah, do you know what?
Grab it.
There's nothing else for me to do. And like looking back, I realised that it was supposed to be that way, you know? I wasn't supposed to get that other opportunities because there was this one. And yeah, so I started on the show, and it was just like, it was like a big wake-up call, I guess. because coming out of school, like I was a little bit of like an angry teenager, I guess. That I'd been through some stuff that I didn't quite understand. I didn't have the emotional intelligence to understand what I was going through. So I was like a little depressed, but I didn't know it. And then I was given this great opportunity, and it just really grounded me. And you know, I realized you've got an opportunity to kind of show yourself and have an in on the industry that you've always dreamed about being in. So I did that, and that was a big learning experience for me. You know, it opened me up to a world that I'd never experienced before. So I just took that time to really listen. Like I was quiet throughout that experience, I must say, because I just wanted to learn and observe as much as I could. So I did that, and then we get to 2030. We're in 2013 now. I'm on the show, and I get quite far, which was good.
Finished 5th, right?
Yeah, 5th place, which was quite good. And when I actually left the show, I was quite ill, so I was like, you know what, take your time. Like you did well. Just take a bit of time out. And shortly after that, I was picked up by a major label, which was like obviously so exciting. I was just turning 17. I probably felt like all my dreams are coming true. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was in a label situation, which was very testing. It was very, very testing, because I didn't really know how to write songs or anything like that. So I got picked up and put into like a development stage for a few years. So I was just going around different studios and meeting new producers, new writers, and just trying to work on my craft. And that was all good until like I had like, I guess, a disagreement with the label in terms of what direction they wanted me to go in and what I saw for myself. And since I was young, I'd always written poetry and short stories. I had like a love for descriptive writing. I just didn't know how to write songs. And once I kind of found my feet in the songwriting world, I had a lot more of an artistic integrity, you know. So it kind of messed with me when they said, well, we want you to go down this street, and you know, I was being called down this one. So yeah, that was quite tough, and we had a little bit of a disagreement, and then I think, you know, they wanted to compromise with me to an extent. So they reached out to Naughty Boy, who's my lovely friend. Absolutely love him to this day. And they said, so we're going to put you in the studio with him, and he's going to exec produce your album. I'm like, amazing, like just get me in there. And I went down. The first day we met, he was super cool, like really chilled, and you know, he just told me, like, anyone in this building, you can work with anybody. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to experiment and express yourself. And that was like a breath of fresh air, you know, because I hadn't heard that so far.
Straight.
The whole time I've been, you know, I guess in the industry, I hadn't heard that. So I was just like, wow, like, yeah, playtime, I guess. And yeah, we worked for about a year, maybe just over a year in F Block. And I worked with some lovely people, and, you know, we made some good music that we were really proud of. And we got to a place where
when roughly is this?
Oh, okay. So this was probably in 2015, coming into 2016. Yeah, so we got a collective of songs together that we really liked and we was really proud of. And we took it to the label to present it to them, and like they listen, they nod, they bob their heads, and I was like, oh, maybe they like it. And then they turned to me afterwards and they said, oh, this is really good, but but I don't know if it's going to chart on the radio, and I don't know if blah, 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 blah. And it was just a lot of doubt, and like it made me doubt myself, and it kind of like demotivated me a bit from making music, because I just felt like there was no way through this. You know, whatever I do, it's just they're not going to like it. So I started writing music from a place where, like, you know, I had other people's voices in the back of my head, which for me, I write to express myself and to release things that I might be going through or thinking about. So that put me into a very dark space, you know, where it was my main source of expression. And at that time, I'm a little bit better now, but at that time and probably now, I'm not great at, you know, opening up and being super vulnerable in conversation. I'm good at doing it in the song, but in conversation, not so much. So when that was tainted by other people, yeah, it really, really affected me as a person. And I later met in 2016, probably towards the end of 2016, I met my manager, who's still my manager now. And she's amazing. You know, during that year, I didn't have management. So I was meeting with so many people and just nothing felt right. And that's what I go by, you know. If I don't feel drawn to it, if it doesn't feel right and it's not, I won't go for it, never.
So you really go with your gut then, yeah?
100%, yeah. I try to pay attention to what my instincts are telling me all the time. So I went a year and I didn't have management, and then I met Maya, and she was looking after Section Boys at the time. And I went to go see them perform at Trap Star Party, and she was there, and we just had like a normal conversation, just like, hi, Mom, what's your name, where you from, da da da, cool. And that was it. It was just like, it was very brief. And we had a mutual friend, and they hit me a few days later and said, oh, Maya is my friend, she wants to meet with you, and she's like in artist management and la la la. And we ended up meeting, and we really got on. I really liked her vibe. Like, she's very headstrong, very business savvy, very bossy, but it's also very charming as well, you know.
She's got the balance.
Yeah, she's got the balance. And I just, like, she was quite early on in the industry, but I was as well. And I was really excited at the fact that we could grow together as well. So we started working together, and she, you know, she kind of heard me out about my worries about the label and you know, where I'm going and how I'm gonna, you know, be able to be the artist that I want to be. And she was like, don't worry, we're gonna take your contracts to a lawyer and we're gonna see about this. And there was an option in the contract to say if I hadn't released music in 3 years, then I can exercise the option to leave.
Wowza.
Yeah, so I was super, super lucky to find that. So I got out, and they gave me the music that I'd made and everything. And it was quite a clean break. And it was really nice because, you know, and I felt a weight lifted. I felt like I can start being myself again.
Breathe again.
Yeah, I can breathe again. And she just put me in the studio for like 2 weeks, and I went in, and I just, I got myself back into a place where you know, I could identify when I was creating from a real place. And then, yeah, we worked together for a few years after that, until I was really solid in, you know, my creativity. And we started dropping music in 2019 was when I first released a song, a single. And yeah, we've just been building since then. I have another manager called Ashley, who's also amazing, incredibly amazing. Yeah, but yeah, like I'm here. Like, I've made so many great friends in the industry that I trust their creative vision, and, you know, they're good people to be around, and they've helped me, you know, get to where I am creatively, make some great music. And, you know, I work with people I love, I create with people I love, and I just feel really blessed to like have made it to this point, you know. But yeah, that's the lowdown.
It's a big, long story. And the maddest thing is, like, your journey so far is very similar to a lot of artists' journey, to be honest. But the difference is, when people knew you as Tamera Foster and you made the big splash in 2013, a lot of artists don't have that initial kind of beginning or early chapter. So I suppose that there's a lot of similarities in your journey and a lot of other artists' journey. But we're here now. So let's talk about this song, Wickedest.
Yeah.
When you are a person and you're saying that you've got the wickedest in a romantic sense, I mean, it leaves not too much to the imagination. Break down what people should take from this song, and when you're in a relationship and you're telling someone you got the wickedest, what do you mean?
Wow. When I wrote Wickedest, I was kind of just over 6 months out of like a bad relationship. And I felt like, you know, the reins were tight in that relationship. And when I got out of it, I felt an incredible sense of freedom, and I felt very empowered. You know, I can't lie, like I was really ready to start dating again, you know, because it was very bad, and I just wanted to get away from it, and I didn't want to be in, you know, in that headspace anymore. So I felt free, I felt like a goddess, and I took that feeling and to the studio, and I explained it to Ari and Jay Warner and P2J, and they were just like, yeah, we're feeling sexy too.
Hey.
we're feeling sexy too. So yeah, we just started right into a guitar loop. And I guess what I mean when I say I got the wickedest is like, I know that when I give myself, I give the best version of myself. And on days that I can't, I'll still try to, you know, I'll still try to. And it wasn't even necessarily like pertaining to like sexy stuff, like just that phrasing, like I got the wickedest. It's just like, you know, like I know my worth, and when I turn up, I'm gonna turn up.
Straight up.
You know? And yeah, that's where it came from. I got the wickedest.
I think it's easy for, you know, everybody, people in the music industry or fans, to hear a young black female vocalist of the soulful side and call them an R&B artist. Would you say you're an R&B artist?
I would say that, you know, putting me into like an R&B box is probably like easy for other people to understand what I do. But I feel like the lines of R&B are so blurred right now, you know. We've got inspiration and we take nuggets from so many different genres.
A lot of sharing going on.
There's a lot of sharing going on, and you know, there's a lot of crossovers. So I don't know, maybe they'll make a name for this genre that's slowly being created right now. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just an artist and I just try to express myself best I can, you know.
Aphrodite is the name of your debut project, your EP. And anyone who knows what Aphrodite means, that's back to like Greek goddess, love, sexual energy, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, break it down for anybody that needs to know what they should expect from this EP.
Well, this EP is, I would say, is probably tailored for people who are in a place in their life where they feel very strong in where they're going and what they're doing, and you know, how they present themselves, and the way they approach romantic situations. Like, I just wanted to be very, very bold in this EP. There are a lot of nods to love and relationships, because I love love.
Hey,
who doesn't?
Hey, come on. Some people don't though. Still.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sad for them still.
I'm so sad for you guys. But yeah, me personally, I love love. And I think, you know, in 2021, there's so many different ways of expressing love. And you remember I said, like, I get fascinated by the way different people deal with things and everything. So I tend to write about relationships quite a lot because I think the concepts are endless, to be honest. But the Aphrodite, that name came from, you know, my mum is Greek and English.
Okay.
So it was a nod to my Grecian heritage. Aphrodite is the goddess of love and lust and pleasure. And I changed the spelling to be like Afro because I'm also an African woman.
Yes.
And there's a lot of African sonics in the project. So, you know, there's a pace to the project, which I feel like it keeps it quite exciting. And there's different moods, you know. I feel like you can listen to it while you're getting ready, while you're driving, if you're on your way to a booty call.
Hey.
Or, you know, I put one song on there that's the most vulnerable song on there, called Strong for Me. And yeah, that one's the one for if you want to get in your feelings.
So you just touched on it there, your heritage. Obviously you are a light-skinned woman. Many people might say mixed race, you know what I'm saying? So you spoke about your mum's Greek?
Yeah, she's English and Greek.
English and Greek, and then you got African on your dad's side?
Yep.
Straight, man. I mean, break it down for people that need to know, like, the sort of, you know, the heritage and how that's kind of formed you as a person and maybe as a musician.
Well, I feel like it's come from a few different places. Well, when I was growing up, from like a young age, I've never known my biological dad. So I didn't really, you know, I didn't really know many black people like when I was young. But I knew that I was different to my whole family. My whole family was white. I grew up in like a white area. So I can't lie, like I was a little bit confused about how I identified when I was young. But yeah, like, you know, the Greeks like to feed. So There was always a lot of food. And yeah, I think when I went to secondary school, that was like the first time that I had spent time with like African people, and it was so weird, but I felt very at home. I made two amazing friends, Precious and Chelsea. Chelsea is no longer my friend anymore. That girl did me wrong, but anyway.
I don't know why I'm laughing at that, but you got to put a bright side on it, innit?
Yeah, but I made friends with them, and I used to spend a lot of time at their house with their moms, and you know, I got introduced to like African food, African music, and it was just like, yeah, it was a really beautiful thing to me, because I feel like I hadn't, you know, that was something that I was missing when I was growing up, and I was aware that I was kind of missing it. And you know, my mum used to, she would have to knock on the door at my neighbour's house, which there was lovely African family that lived opposite us. But I remember one time she went to the house and was just like, can you please help me? My daughter's hair is dreadlocking and I don't know what to do with it. She put some projects in my hair and it just like completely matted it, and she was considering cutting my hair off, and I was just like, no. Yeah, so it was like, there was just little things like that growing up, you know. So yeah, when I was exposed to African culture when I was like a young teenager, it was just super exciting. And yeah, I was just like, I felt like I got to know like another part of myself, I guess. And yeah, I spend a lot of time in London, and you know, it's like a mixing pot.
It's a hive of loads of cultures.
Yeah, exactly. So that was wonderful for me as well. I feel like, yeah, I'm just learning always along the way. I'm picking up little gems from everywhere.
So for the record, you say that your dad's not been in your life. You've not met your dad, your biological father. What part of Africa is he from?
So he's St. Lucian and Nigerian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shouts to the Lucians though. Shouts to the Nigerians, because we share those heritages still. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that void, I mean, it's a deep void, man. As a young woman growing up, not being in contact or not having your biological father in your life, how did you kind of navigate through that and deal with that along the way?
Well, I think from a young age, my mum kind of, you know, she let me know what the deal was, because I had a stepdad from about 2 years old, and he is the father of my brother and sister. So I had a father figure in the house, but she always, you know, she would take out a picture for me to look at, you know, of him, and she'll be like, this is your dad, and he's not here right now. And she would tell me kind of like little things about the story, you know. I was just young, so she was little bits of the story, but I always kind of knew. And I guess like until like maybe quite recently, I looked at it from, you know, the perspective of, you can't miss somebody that you don't know, kind of thing, you know. So it never really affected me, you know. Sometimes I would get the days where I'm a bit curious, and I'd ask my mum some more questions, and naturally. But yeah, like, to be honest, I don't think it was too much of an issue. But a couple of years ago, I had like just a chain of thought, and I realized maybe I have some brothers and sisters, you know, somewhere else. Like, there's a whole part of my family that I don't know, and I don't even know if they would want to know me or not. So yeah, like I've been a little bit more curious recently.
To be continued, maybe.
Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah.
So you've worked, I mean, with P2J. He's executively produced Afrodite. If anyone knows P2J, this is a guy that's worked with Beyonce, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Snoh Aalegra. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but the artists I mentioned are some of my favourites, so that's the reason why I mentioned them still. How did this working relationship with P2J start?
So, okay. Well, we have a lot of mutual friends in the industry. One of my favourite writers, and like my brother, Jay Warner, he works closely with him, and I think they have the same management as well. And he's been saying for years, you know, like, you guys should get in, and it just never happened, you know. It just never happened. And I think we met a couple of times, just like passing in the studio, but it never happened. And then, you know, we were going through lockdown, and just as the lockdown rules were starting to ease, my managers messaged me, and they said, oh, by the way, we managed to get a session with P2J, and Ari's going to be there, and Jay Warner's going to be there. So I was like, amazing. Like, these are incredible people. Like, I can't wait. And this was like my first session, you know, coming out of lockdown. So I had time to like charge up, gain some perspective or whatever, do some groundwork. And we got in the studio finally. And he had a story about me. Like, he'd met me and I didn't remember, but he'd met me, and we had a conversation in the studio once, and he was like, yeah, I really want to work with that girl. And I was just like, you wanted to work with me? It's crazy. But yeah, we got in the stew, and he's a little bit shy and I'm a little bit shy. So the first session was like, it was more about the music and the vibes, you know. We didn't get to know each other that much in the studio that day. But the musical chemistry was just on point. Like, it was there, and we made like an amazing song that I love, and it's on the project. Well, every song that we made, I think bar one, is on the project. Angel Dust, we made that on the first day that we got in, and we were just all so excited about it. You know, it was very different, and
Great start.
Yeah, great start. And we had a session the next day as well, and we made Wickedest on that day. Again, we was all very, very excited, and then he just turned to me and he was like, yeah, do you know what, we should do a project. I was like, can I get that writing, please?
Was that something that you manifested maybe?
Well, no, like, I was really just open to making good music, and I hoped that it would go well. I had no idea that it was going to be so well. I've never worked with anybody as easily and as fluidly as I do with P2J. But yeah, we just every time we got in the studio, we made another song that we loved, and it was just really fun for both of us.
Sounded effortless.
Yeah, it was. Like, it just came together, and then it was done, and we're like, okay, cool, it's finished. We did it.
And a great project.
Yeah, thank you.
Something I've been speaking to a lot of artists about recently is, you know, when it comes to like the numbers, like the YouTube streams, the YouTube numbers, the digital streaming platform numbers. Like, we're living in a digital world at the moment. The numbers are promoted by the record labels, the artists, the management and all that kind of stuff. But these people who promote the numbers a lot before anything else will lead you to believe that because a song has big numbers, it's better than everything else. It's better. It's the best thing since sliced bread. So how do you feel about the numbers? Do you feel like there is a big correlation between the numbers and how good a song is?
I think personally, when it comes to numbers, I try not to think about it too much, to be honest. Like, for me, it's nice when I see, you know, numbers that I've never seen before underneath my videos or my songs or whatever. It's nice, but you can't take that in too much. You can't take that in too much. Like, I just try my best to make good music that makes me feel something. I only use instruments that make me feel something. I only say words that make me feel something. And, you know, if I can do that, then my job's done. And the numbers, it's just like, it's going to do what it's going to do as long as I feel proud of what I've made.
There's pressure that comes with the numbers though, because there are artists that I speak to that be concentrating and studying these numbers on a daily basis, and that might be making the artist feel more confident or less confident. You know, you wake up in the morning and you see that your video's done like 500,000 overnight. You know what I'm saying? Obviously it's all in perspective depending on where you are in your journey, but these numbers can be so emancipating and also so damaging. So that's like the flip side of the numbers. Are you an artist that sort of has a regular check on the numbers?
My team definitely do. I mean, yeah, my team do, and sometimes there's conversations about it, but me personally, no, I don't. Like, I like to see my growth and everything, but it's not something that I think about too often. Otherwise, I think it will probably drive me crazy. You know, I just try and make it my job to create really good music, and yeah, then put it out into the world and just let it live and do its thing and see what happens. But numbers, no, I don't want to drive myself crazy.
So you are definitely categorized as a UK based R&B artist, and over the years there has been major struggles for UK R&B based crossover mainstream success. I mean, we could easily count on two hands the success stories. Emily Sandé, Georgia Smith more recently, Craig David, LMA, do you know what I'm saying? But we're struggling to go much further than that. Why do you feel like there's been big struggles with UK based R&B to cross over to the mainstream?
I think it's got to do with there's just like not a service for it here. Like, you know, in America, it's R&B music has been like a prominent genre for a long time, and there are so many people that are passionate about it and that want to facilitate for it, that are, you know, not just music, like listeners, like song lovers, and they're not just other R&B artists. They are, you know, they're people that hold some weight behind them, and they're prepared to kind of go the long haul with the artists, with the R&B artists. And I just feel like you don't see that as much in the UK. There's more of it now, which I'm loving. There's like some amazing people in the industry that are really going hard for, you know, R&B artists, which is lit. But I also think it's about community as well. When I go to America, I see that there's way more collaboration, you know, out there than I see as opposed to when I'm in London, where it's a little bit cliquey, I think, like cliquey. But yeah, like I think the more that we go hard, we keep doing what we're doing, we're showcasing what we're doing, and we make it our responsibility to create that community and to create that hub of you know, artists, of execs, of songwriters, of managers, and everyone who can really just like be a driving force to push this to where it needs to be. I think we'll get there, you know. I think we'll get there.
You just spoke about the industry, the music industry being a bit cliquey. Now, I've spoken to many artists, male and female, but females in particular, about there being certain energies in the music industry pitting female artists against each other. Have you experienced much of that?
To be honest, I've not. I can't say that I've experienced being pitted against another female artist, but however, there's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of comparison, I would say that. And I think maybe it's just because, you know, the scene's smaller over here or whatever. I don't know. But it's like putting me into the R&B category. It helps people make sense of things, you know. It's like, oh, like, you just did a jazzy riff. You sound like Georgia Smith. I don't sound like Georgia Smith. It just makes sense. You can just make that connection, you know. So yeah, and I think maybe if you're not super confident, having a comparison against another artist may be a bit damaging, you know. It may be a little bit damaging, because then that might leave room for that artist to start comparing themselves to other females in the industry, and that's just like, you know, it's not good. There's enough space for all of us, you know, and whatever you're doing, you're the only version of you, you know. You're going to do it in a way that no one else will be able to do it. And I think, you know, we just have to be quite strong in that fact as female artists, because, you know, we will be compared, and in other cases we'll be pitted against each other. But I just think, you know, we have time to do much better things. So
how far down the road are we with your debut album? Have you started working on that?
No, I haven't. Not yet. I've started working on my next project, my next EP. I've started working on that now, and it's developed, you know. The sound has developed a little bit from Afrodite. I'm really excited to get into that, because it's the flip side of what I've written about in this project. So I'm gonna get a lot off my chest. I'm gonna spill some tea.
Feels, yeah?
yeah, it's a feels one for sure. But yeah, I've started that one, and I don't know when I'm gonna start an album, but I have a feeling that it's gonna take me a while to write it. Yeah.
Hey man, we're just happy that you're releasing music, because like I said, man, when I saw you on the TV screens in 2013, I thought this girl's got a great future, and you went missing. So we're just so happy that you're here now releasing music. And this ain't gas, because when I heard your music, I didn't make the link with the same person that I saw in 2013. I just was interested by this new artist. So you know what I'm saying? So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
SK Vibemaker.